Okay, hello and welcome to the second episode of our Wellbeing series. We mentioned in last week's episode what we'd be talking about today. It's changed slightly, as with everything changing on a daily basis. So hi, my name's Richard and this is Tom.
Hey.
Hello, Tom, and Kiva as well. Welcome, Kiva. So how are you, Kiva? What have you been up to? And can you tell us a little more about what we can expect from today's episode?
Hello, I am doing great. I've actually just received, we are currently at the moment giving out little planters for all of our staff at Kaplan. So I've just received mine. So I'm going to plant that out at the weekend. Now, this week, as you were just saying, we were going to speak on how everyone has a story, but we did swiftly decide to change this once we heard some of the fantastic recordings from our colleagues. Yeah, they really are quite good at Kaplan. We do have a few wonderful people for you to hear from today, all giving their top tips and tricks on how to cope with your own mental well-being during lockdown and beyond. As even with all the lockdown measures starting to ease now, we do know that the world we had last year is quite different. So we just have a few different recordings to get through today for you.
Fantastic. And I thought we'd get started by asking each other the very question we asked our colleagues. Tom, I'll come to you first, just looking down. There we are. How are you doing this week? And can you give me one thing that you have started doing over the past year that has helped with your mental health?
Hi, Richard. I'm actually really good. It's been brilliant. Sun is shining, so can't complain, which always helps mental health. One thing is probably difficult. The year that's just gone has probably been diverse in trying to distract and do different things. I did move house in the middle of the summer, so I've been getting stuck into DIY.
Yep.
Figuring out how to put down floors and painting and all of that.
Wow.
Gardening as well and we got a dog in November. So
I found lovely.
Having him and forcing me to go for a walk once, twice, 3 times a day, splitting it up with my wife, is really helped to get out and get some vitamin D and fresh air, and that's definitely helped towards the latter end of the year and through the winter. How about yourself? What have you done to hobbies, activities to?
Yeah, I suppose it's been quite a long stretch, hasn't it? So I did my own podcast, like a drama horror podcast, which I probably did through the sort of started during the first lockdown, which then continued into the second lockdown. And we did a lot of it by Zoom and with various actors that I'd worked with before in London, because I used to live there. And so we were able to work together over Zoom, which was great. And I was able to write it with a friend of mine as well, and we did it all via FaceTime. So it's just kind of refinding like how to be creative when you can't actually be with anyone, which is really nice. And the last lockdown, I taught myself how to do vector art on the iPad, so I can do graphics now, which is great. Yeah, so it sounds like, but it's like spread out over the whole year. It felt like I definitely felt like I had quite long periods where I wasn't really doing very much. I don't know how you guys felt about that. But Kiva, what are you currently doing to improve your own mental well-being?
Well, in the past, what lockdown, it has been a struggle with us, but even previous that, I've always kind of dealt with my own mental well-being journey, and I always find binging horror movies is my biggest escapism. Well, Richard, you're out producing and doing your own podcast. I was just sitting by myself watching those movies. But definitely, I really do believe that like just letting yourself immerse in new films or a good show just to kind of block out the world for a bit is also good. But on top of that too, I have started the gym. So I am trying to get more physical. So I'm trying to get myself under a routine because I am due to be working from home probably for the next couple of months still. So I'm just trying to do stuff to get myself out of the house, where previously when it was at winter, I would find myself for days on end just being in the house. So now I'm trying to every day go out after work right away and go to the gym for an hour, then go for a walk and just see different people outside, which is nice.
See people outside of work and outside your support bubble. If you
Novelty of it all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Any good horror movie recommendations from the binge watching?
Oh, my favorite that is currently actually just got put back on the Netflix now is 13 Ghosts. That is one of my favorite horror films of all time. It's definitely a good. It depends on yourself and what you like and what you don't like. But if you are wanting a horror movie to watch this weekend, it is currently on Netflix.
I remember seeing that at the cinema. I was quite a while ago, I think. Just shows how old I am.
Add that to my list.
Now, the first recording we're going to hear from today is from Jenny Pellin, who is the Apprenticeship Partnerships Director here at Kaplan, and she has said a few words on the benefits of going outside.
There have been a few downs in lockdown. I've tried to improve my mood by making myself go outside every day, whatever the weather. There's no better thing for being able to create some distance and not feel chained to a laptop. And just by hearing some birdsong or seeing a different view, that's really helped. Coping strategies I've used, well, sometimes they haven't been terribly good, and a slight addiction to pickled onion and Monster Munch crisps has featured. But I've moved away from that now, and I make sure that I eat more healthily, and I'm drinking kind of herbal teas rather than caffeine in the afternoon to get me through, and eating better, and it does make a difference. I've also made myself go swimming a lot. I used to hate it because the water was so freezing cold in an open water environment, but there's a real high that you get afterwards, and it makes you think about something else other than work, because you've just got to focus on breathing and moving.
Well, it's fantastic to hear from Jenny. Now, I know we've got a few more to listen to. Tom, would you mind introducing the next recording, please?
Yes, of course. So we've also got a recording from Sarah Powell, who is our Quality and Equality Manager here at Kaplan. Sarah speaks about the different things that she did to improve her mood. Mm-hmm. I know going forward that the lockdown measures are beginning to ease, but even with this, it's important to still keep routines and find ways in which to combat any negative mental well-being.
So when I think about the ways in which I've tried to improve my mood during lockdown, there's a few things that come to mind. First of all, definitely for me, spending time outdoors, gardening, walking, and more recently meeting friends. I think during the toughest periods where we could meet one person, I would always make sure that I would walk after work with a friend once a week, and that really just kept me connected. In terms of staying connected, I think that was really important. I made sure that I stayed connected with my friends and my family through Zoom meetings, the dreaded quizzes that we all did, or maybe just through text or phone. I think fun was another thing for me. Lots of our fun opportunities have been removed, but just things like sharing silly pictures, jokes on WhatsApp actually just put a smile on my face for a few minutes. And that was really just what I needed. I think really important is that I didn't expect too much at times of myself. So sometimes if I didn't really feel like doing much, I just might sit around, read a book or a magazine, or just watch TV and not feel that great expectation to actually be doing a lot of things. And then finally, food and drink. Making sure that I had a little bit of what I fancied when I wanted. Also trying out different foods. So we had different food nights, takeaway treats, and things like that really just made each weekend feel a little bit different.
Okay, so great tips there from Sarah, and I think we all feel like it's not really spoken about enough in the workplace. So it's really great for us to have our colleagues and also our managers as well speaking openly about mental health issues. I think that helps us open up more, I think, and sort of be more honest with ourselves and what we can talk about with our colleagues. So Kiva, who is our next speaker?
Yeah, definitely. I fully agree with what you're saying there, Richard. I do think it's such an important topic to start bringing into the workplace more. And now we are going to hear from another manager at Kaplan. We're actually going to hear from Kishlad next, who is the assessment manager within IDD.
Hi, I'm Kishlad and I'm the assessment manager at Kaplan Financial. I want to briefly talk about my own mental health, anxiety, and how I actually cope with it. I'm fortunate enough to have my wife and 2 dogs where we can all go for walks during lunch or at the end of the day for some fresh air and just get a little bit of breathing space, especially when we've had a long, hard day at work. Remember, all you have to do is look after your own well-being. For me, I invested in my own home gym during lockdown, and now I can finish work, get changed, and go straight to the garage and lift weights. It's great. And remember, mental health cannot be seen, so speak up and let others know what you're going through. It's easier said than done, but you'll be amazed at how much support you can be given, especially by the ones that you trust, your friends, your family, and the colleagues as well. Mental health is something never to shy away from, especially if you are living by yourself. Get the support that you need and seek advice where you can. Everyone is out there to support you and to make sure that your well-being is looked after. And remember, stay safe and look after yourself.
Well, I think Kish raised a great point about mental health not being necessarily visible. And also it's, again, as we mentioned earlier, it's great for managers to be talking about the importance of speaking up, whether it's to a colleague, a friend, or anyone in your sort of support network. And also there are various support links that we will have for you at the end of the podcast. Tom, have any of our colleagues taken up any hobbies during lockdown?
Yeah, a few. In fact, Amy Dove, who's one of our senior student service manager in the student service team at Kaplan, has over the past year gotten a new hobby making wax melts in her spare time. So let's hear some more from Amy about that in her own words.
I'm usually a really sociable person, so for me, lockdown was difficult. And what I decided to do was have a new hobby. So I decided I was going to start making wax melts. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, the little melts that you put in a burner and the candle obviously melts them. And they make your room smell delightful. So I decided that I was going to buy a little starter kit and make my own because I was spending loads of money on them and also just something to do. So now I make them for me and my friends. Absolutely love them. And another thing that I do is when I'm feeling a little bit down, I often cook for the week, put music on really loud in my kitchen, get my cook on, have a little bit of a dance while I'm doing it.
Well, that all sounds amazing. I am very jealous of how Amy's house must smell throughout the year. I must try and get a few of them wax melts myself now as well.
Okay, so next we're going to hear from Lauren Kernut from our own student experience team. She's going to talk about how she improved her mood during lockdown.
My name's Lauren Kernut, a student experience manager. How have I tried to improve my mood during lockdown? Well, in the first lockdown, as student experience, we're actually furloughed, so I did find it much easier during that period to sort of regulate my mood, not having the stresses, I guess, of work, just being able to, do crafts and bits around the house does kind of keep you quite busy. I think the period of time that I've struggled most with was coming back to work. And that not giving you as much time perhaps to, practice the self-care that you got used to during furlough. So what I have tried to do is focus on what it is that I need when I'm feeling in a bad place. Is it that I just need to sort of get out, get some fresh air, be around nature? Or is it that maybe I do just need to relax, sit down, watch something on TV, have some snacks? Or is it maybe that I need to do something slightly different, such as reach out to a friend and just have a good conversation with them to make me feel better? So they're the things that I feel when I'm feeling down. And probably also coping strategies as well if I'm having a bad day, would be just to kind of really feel my feelings, not sort of try to make myself feel better, understand why I'm feeling that way, and understand that it'll pass. And hopefully wake up the next day feeling a bit more positive and brighter.
So yeah, Lauren's recording comes with some fantastic tips there and coping mechanisms. I really like how she can notice herself when her mood is low and tries kind of different things to combat this.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I'm definitely going to take that forward in the future. I think being able to understand your own mental health whenever things are starting to get bad is very important to kind of combat and then find coping mechanisms as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I think sort of being able to identify those sort of points where you're not feeling, where you might need to intervene and do something is really important. And anyway, last but certainly not least, we will be hearing from Kate White, who is the Senior Development Manager within the IDD team at Kaplan.
Some people see talking about mental health as a bit of a taboo subject, but I think it's really important and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Our mental health is equally as important as our physical health, so it's really important that as well as looking after our bodies, we take care of our minds too. I guess my advice would be create a new routine to fit this new lifestyle. Things are different and they're probably not going to go back to the way they were before, but that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, it was absolutely great to hear from Kate and hearing the way that she plans a routine. And she also broke down how mental health has been a taboo subject in the past, but we are now trying to move away from that and bring it more into being talked about.
Absolutely, and just a big thank you to everyone who has sent in voice recordings for us. It's been really great to hear, you know, everyone sort of being very candid and talking openly about their mental health and what they've done to improve that. And hopefully that'll give, you know, it'll be nice for, you know, good for people to listen to. So what are we going to be doing? What are we going to be talking about next week, Kiva?
So next week we're going to be focusing on the topic of preparing for examinations, and we're going to give you our top tips and tricks on how to get yourself ready, how to prepare, and how to de-stress before and after your exams.
Sounds fantastic and absolutely essential for everyone who'll be entering the new season of exams. So should we say goodbye, and we'll see you all next week? Well, thank you very much, Tom and Kiva. It's been brilliant to be hanging out again, and we'll see you all next week.
See you next week.
Cheerio, everyone. Bye.
Bye.